G'day guys, a quick preview of Randwick for Anzac Day, 25th of April, Wednesday the 25th of April. Rail goes 9 metres from the 1600 metres to the winning post, 7 metres for the remainder, so mostly we've got a 9 metre rail. What have we got? Irrigation 11 mils last 7 days, 1.6 mils of rainfall last 7 days. Looks like the track's had a bit of wear, but obviously that track was super fast the other day. I doubt they did too much damage to it. Still should be playing on speedish. Obviously for some decent sized fields here with a bit of tempo in a couple of them, so making ground, but again don't really want to be back wide, and making ground more important to be closer to the fence, I would imagine. Maybe 1 or 2 off in the straight again could be the play, but we'll keep an eye on it. That's what we're setting up for. First race of the day for the 3-year-olds, set weights maiden. Looks a bit of potential speed here with Sazavi trying to hold the front, all too free up there a little bit. African Academy gets the blinkers back on, and I'm hoping that Stock Up goes forward with Sazavi here from the gate outside it, and they can try and control things. I do think that they're the 2 horses to run down. Sazavi on the 7-day backup obviously loses the senior rider, but was 3 wide, no cover there last start and really improved. Looks to lead, hopefully Stock Up, who looks quite one-paced, is suited by the extra 100 metres, but obviously needs a more aggressive ride. Really should have won last start and just restrained out of the race early, cost at the race. Strike Rock's the one that looks suited also up to 1400 metres. Draws that inside gate again, had its chance last start and was a bit one pace, but probably the extra 200 metres could help others in the betting, all too free. 23 days since that first up run where it was a bit weak late. Don't think it looks to control the tempo here. I think they'll be happy to take a sit and may end up outside leader, which is not ideal anyway. Can't really find it. And Stone's the other one who does look to be working towards a win, but this does look tougher if anything than last start, and looks to give them a start from gate 7, or possibly the other one who could roll forward and sit outside the leader, but I don't think that's an ideal spot for it either. So Stock Up from Sazavi for me in the first, in not too exciting a race. Race 2, one of the better 2-year-old colts and geldings maidens we've seen for a while. This horse Danawee is worth having a quick look at its trial. Only the one trial, 1000 metre trial. See what he does here. We had our mounting yard guy there for the trial meeting, and this was his pick of the day. He picked it out as an exceptional type. So he misses the start here, and he's hunted along quite a bit, picks up the bridle nice and quickly, and charges through to lead. You can see how green he is here, does a lot wrong. Gets to the middle of the track and looks to be doing all this on raw ability. Very talented type, that extremely dangerous here, there's no doubt about that. He looks very raw but full of ability. He ran time in that trial. Beat a clump of horses, but he's hard to put your finger on. He's drawn 8, he doesn't want to miss the start, but at least drawn 8 he's got a chance to recover if he does. Can't see him racing anywhere but on speed and giving them something to chase. 1200 metres first start in a race off 1000 metre trial is dangerous, so he's priced to be very good. I think he is very good. He's been well backed early. It's just a matter of whether he can put it all together on race day and do it all right, because there are other talented horses in this event. So Danawee's certainly one of the main query runners in the race. The other horse I did like the trials of was the Autumn Sun. Had the preparation before Christmas, came back and looks an improved type here. Really strong type, love the look of him. He's a reduced choice colt and gets the lugging bit for the first time here. I think it's the closer. I think there is a bit of speed here, and I do have a lot of time for this horse, Autumn Sun. The 2 other horses from the Wally Yard, blinkers off or seen, trialling up really nicely. Had some good solid form lines before the break, and Pembroke Castle, very similar, hard to split these 2 horses. Very similar lead-ups to trials, both trialling well, but the only thing is that Orsine draws a little bit wider here. and a difference in rider, but they both look to have solid chances. Exclusive's the horse, another horse we found at the trials that we're just hoping the blinkers would go on. They go on straight away off the trial, so first race start the blinkers go on, and this horse can run a race at big odds, draws nicely, 25 to 1 looks well and truly good enough value. I think even more importantly the $6 the place, because I do think there are some talented types here, and I'd much rather be sort of a peanut the win and a decent bet the place on Exclusive. So I think it's between Danawee and the Autumn Sun. The Pembroke Castle and Orsine are dangerous sort of horses. Exclusive's the value runner. Race 2. Race 3. Tough race to work out. It's sort of a process of deduction. There's some first starters here that have only trialled fair, and then the one that down the bottom in Separated's trialled really well. Press Boxer's trialled well, and Winspear's trialled very fast also with the blinkers on first. Starting a race here, drawn the inside gate. I do think Separated, who was with the Waterhouse Yard until recently, debuting for John O'Shea here, is the horse to beat. Draws ideally. Really think it lobs right there, just right on the speed from that good draw, and is the horse to beat. As you were saying, there is good tempo from wide here in I Like It Easy. Press Box did show a bit of speed in trials, but probably settles off them here, and Winspear definitely kicks up from the inside. Columbina draws awkwardly. It's well and truly in the betting, favourite early. Thought it had every possible chance last start. Iwazi has the winkers on. The second trial was only quite fair. Going off that, you'd have to really risk it, but Snowden trials are often hard to get a really good gauge on, and the stablemate Galena drawn awkwardly, also trialling okay. Both of them look to need a little bit of luck in the run, so sort of Columbina, Awazi and Galena all drawn in 8, 9, 10. Not sure where they end up, whereas Separated should lob right on the bunny, and chasing that's this horse Winspear, I think, should look the winner at some stage, and it's a matter of whether they can run it down. Separated for me in race 3. Race 4, interesting here that we've got Hysterical going 1200 straight to the mile. I don't mind that setup. I don't mind that. There's not much difference between a 12, 12, 14 for me, especially if they've had a bit of pressure in the run. Last start it did look the winner there for a few strides before Resin, who was in the perfect trailing spot, rounded it up. Looks suited out to the mile, especially with this soft lead that looks very, very likely. The one to run down. Marakita's got to run the mile. Jaunty first up, 95 days, no trial. Very interesting horse. Sorry, the wrong race up the top. Canberra's 25 days between runs, plus 200 metres, certainly an advantage, better than it's been showing. Draws really awkwardly, which is a danger, it's a nightmare, but certainly a value runner. Celtic Love was flying before it's had now a 39-day break. Fitness levels are the key at the mile, because it does look about as far as that horse wants to go. Hartlings gets the blinkers, plus 200 metres, can't have hit. Velocita is the early short price favourite. Obviously Savical's come out and run well in Melbourne and won. This horse beat Savical home for it last time, but certainly every possible chance there, and does look likely to get the similar sort of run here, midfieldish, maybe a little bit further back than it was last time, but does have the ability to go right on with it. Obviously pretty quirky horse, walks around the parade yard with a funny leg condition where it's got tight muscles or something, and it throws a leg out. It's pretty crazy to have a look at, but this horse has plenty of ability, has a nice turn of foot. If it's going to be vulnerable, it might be this run second up off a pretty nice effort first up, but certainly deserves to be in the betting and deserves to be favourite. Danza has ability, open to improvement, draws nicely, no real knock on it. Lifeline Princess is set up okay for this form, not terrible I didn't think, and looks in knockout hope. Personable really needs to lift. Gerardo Prince is going well, and found the right race last time, should race on speed, perfect draw and should run well. And Akiko Gold's a bit of a place chance as well. I think it and Curata Storm are very similar horses. Should camp right in behind the speed here and can run cheeky races at odds. Both of them down the bottom. Definitely going exotics. Cam Barge, Curata Princess, and Akiko Gold the value. Hysterical the one to run down. Velocita. Yeah, certainly the horse to beat, as in should be favourite, but well and truly found in the market for me at $2.30. I can't be taking that price. Race 5. Speed from wide here, as you can see, Bellavino Misery debuts for the Bjorn Baker stable, showed speed in the trial. Rosa Man's been showing more speed lately than it ever has in its life, and can get over racing, so he could play a part in the on-speed battle. Fabry is racing really well, back to the 1,000, getting deeper into its preparation. I don't think super ideal, but he's racing too well to dismiss him and should be in a positive position. Bellavino certainly can run a race at odds here at around the $15 mark. Can't knock it. Fabry, similar, about the $13 mark, should be on speed and can't knock it. Misery, also around the $9 mark on speed and can run well first up for the new stable. Bjorn Baker seems to get these horses going straight away, usually when he gets hold of them, and loves to have them ready to go. So I think Misery is probably the one to beat out of those three. They all run well. Malahat, with the blinkers off and being a gelding, has been trolling up okay. I'm not sure where he gets to here, whether he gets a pair too far back to be really dangerous. I think he's certainly deserves to be around the favourite mark, but does need luck and does need to jump cleanly to find a pretty positive position. The bottom one, Abukir Bay, is coming off an average maiden where it was pretty dominant there, a short price favourite. Probably needs to lift. These are pretty tough seasoned gallopers, and this horse is coming straight into it off a maiden win, so probably against it, but not surprised if it wins, but just have to be against it. And Quantrill, it's probably too short for it 1,000 metres first up, but does get the blinkers back on. Good sign. It's only 63 done at rate day since it was last seen and has trialled positively, so quite an open race. Misery for me on top of the other two on paces, Bellavino and Fabry. Malahat, I can just see it needing a bit of luck at the right time to justify its price. This next race I'm not going to spend too much time on, only much to say that it just looks an absolute lottery. Extremely difficult race. We've got Etymology coming off a Maruya run where to build its confidence, comes back to the city racing well, draws well. Let's just move to that race. Caravalli 32 days back in distance, back in grade, definitely has the ability, but not an ideal setup. Dracade 35 days between runs, up in distance, has trialled well since winning at Gosford. Looks to have really solid ability and a good chance here each way. Gothland, an ex-Lloyd Williams horse, is now gone to the Kim Moore stable and trialled up very well on two occasions. 1,800 metres first up, obviously. 217 days, so it's 319 days since it was last seen. Gothland 2, which is obviously makes the job a little bit more difficult to get it race fit, especially for this distance range. A Raja, 217 days between runs, just one trial. I thought it went really well there. I'm very interested in this horse. I reckon if there's money for it, it's a very dangerous proposition. Perfect Rhyme, the other one who the big class drop, was ridden poorly last start, dragged out of the race and can improve significantly. Dubai style well set up, just a very awkward draw, not sure where it gets to. And the bottom one's not hopeless here, plot twist for me. First up, 1,800 suits this horse, and $71 looks excessive for a horse of its ability. So really tough race. If I had to have a crack, it's probably Perfect Rhyme. Hoping the Rachel King's fairly aggressive on it, but this race is impossible. Race 7, a nice horse here, well, a couple of nice horses resumed, but I think this is a genuine group horse in Cradle Mountains. Trail like it with intent, trialled enormous, draws to do whatever it wants, lead, sit off it, just behind the speed if it wants to. No knock at all on Cradle Mountain, clearly the horse to beat even at 1,200 metres fresh. Beacon has never run at 1,200 metres fresh, but also trialling up well, 172 days since last seen, and can run well. Who else have we got here? Smart Edge is a talented horse from the right stable, drawn ideally to camp just behind the speed as well, and it should run well, it's the each way chance. If you're having a bet straight out, for me, it's Cradle Mountain. If you're having a bet each way, it's Smart Edge at the price. Can't really find any knockouts here. I'm interested to throw Sugar Bay Leonard into exotics with the blinkers on. Maybe Dwarf Star's a closer also. So Spirited's a good horse with and Almahaha down the bottom's the wild card. It did look a pretty smart horse early in its last prep before tapering off a bit, so it can bounce back. Lucky Last. Oh, this is a tough race. Chapelco probably rolls forward. Got the wrong race here. Chapelco probably rolls forward and tries to take it up, but just set a suicidal tempo last start and stuck on well. Grand finalist was taken on in front as also last start and should get on pace easily enough. Bright Future box seats. A little bit like it turned it up last start for mine. Certainly had its chance to run on there with that suicidal tempo and just peaked late, whether it needed that run. And today's its grand final, I'm not sure, but it should run well. Pure Rebel ran well in that race first up. Obviously pace assisted there, but can strip fitter, so I don't want to knock it too much. Brother in Arms, if it felt like it could certainly measure up to this grade, as could Magical Stance. General Artie is racing very well in country provincial grade and can measure up in what looks a tricky race. Centro Superior is impossible to follow, but also can measure up. Tough race to finish. Chapelco's the one to run down. If it sort of settles an even tempo, it's certainly going to kick and be hard to beat. Grand finalist probably camps on it. If it leads, it's probably harder to beat with the blinkers applied. Just still a little bit disappointing there the other day for mine. The closers come from everywhere. If those two don't control the speed and kick away, anything can win. General Artie, Brother in Arms, Magical Stance. Look, the value runners are big odds. There you go, not an easy day. Some nice horses resuming. Race 2 is the highlight for me, the clash between Danawi and the Autumn Sun. But all in all, a pretty interesting day. Separated is another interesting horse. Debuting in race 3, and it sort of seems to get tougher as the day goes on, but we'll hopefully have a bit of luck and have a bit of fun. Thanks guys.